There are still a lot of questions about the people behind last week's terror attacks in Brussels. Authorities say brothers Khalid and Ibrahim al-Barkawi both acted as suicide bombers. The pair is among a number of brothers involved in recent terror attacks. With more about this, we are joined by Alan Bell, president of Globe Risk International. Thanks for coming in the wake of this, and really just under a week since all of this happened. So, you know, we mentioned brothers being involved. This isn't the first time. In fact, quite prominently in other attacks, as we mentioned.
That's right.
Is it, I guess, more commonplace to have the influence there inside a family?
Well, for terrorist organizations, having future terrorist suicide bombers in a family unit is better because they know that these people are there for the right reasons. If they're dealing with a lone wolf, it could be a police infiltrator, it could be a spy, or whatever the case may be. So having terrorist bombers from a family unit is what they are looking for, and that's what they've been doing.
In the case of the Boston bombers and the brothers in that case, we talked a lot about the fact that this younger brother was completely and totally influenced by the
His
older brother.
Yeah.
And was he responsible, or was the older brother equally responsible?
Well, within a family unit, it's easier to radicalize because it doesn't go outside the family unit. I mean, when you bring different people together, as I said, and they're not family, they're not related to other people, there's a chance that someone could infiltrate that group, and therefore it's going to be reported on, so the attack will fail. But in the family unit, it's easier to radicalize, and it's usually an older brother that radicalizes his younger brother. And funnily enough, the older brother tends to die first. He's the one that detonates the suicide vest earlier than the younger brother. Which
they did. And when in terms of investigation, is this something that investigators are, you know, looking at? I mean, when they track one person down, and then we know in this case that some of these guys were known to authorities.
It is easier to track lone wolf terrorists than it is to track family unit lone wolves, because when they're all together, it is very difficult for them to get in. The whole issue of intelligence is breaking down through this family unit, simply because how are you going to know what's going on in a particular family unit? And also the police, particularly in Europe now with the free borders, you can go to 26 countries in Europe without showing your passport. So consequently, if you get in with a legal visa into Europe, you could free to travel throughout the whole of Europe. This is a pipeline for terrorism, particularly with the mass migration, the forced mass migration at the moment into Europe. I mean, we're presenting the terrorists with a tremendous opportunity to actually develop and grow and set up all their cells, etc., etc. And their main focus will be people who are sympathizers, who they can radicalize, who are being radicalized within their family unit. So it's an easy option for terrorist groups.
And when there's people that are known to authorities, known to police, and they you know, are tracking this guy, would they not then look to see what siblings he has and what they're up to?
They do. They do that, but it's harder to do it because getting information from inside a family is more difficult than an individual who goes to work or is just moving around the whole terrorist organization. And as I said, it is the best option for everybody. And they are encouraging family members to commit these acts, particularly the suicide attacks, because once you commit a suicide attack, apart from your DNA, there's no way can you investigate that back to whoever ordered the attack or planned the attack, etc., etc. So it really does not, it hinders the intelligence and the law enforcement process.
Alan Bell, thank you very much for coming in this morning.